Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. Guess what? We're back in the kitchen. But today, I'm going to make pinto beans. Only I'm going to do it in my new pressure cooker. Well, it's not really new. I bought it back in June. I'll tell you about that later. But we're going to see how quick it is to do the beans with just a pressure cooker, not an Instant Pot. No, I don't have one of those, but I do have this small pressure cooker, and I think it's much cheaper, and we'll just see how it works, okay? All right, so come on, join me, and we'll experiment. Okay, see you there. Okie dokie, we're at the stove. Hey, thanks for joining me today. And you know what? If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've been sticking around for a while, I just want you to know I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your comments. I try to respond to everyone. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and share, because everybody needs to know this stuff. And I just appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. You know that for sure. Okay. Last June, well, this past June, I had a couple of gift cards from my kids, and I decided to, they were Amazon cards actually, and so I decided to just go crazy, and I bought myself a stovetop pressure cooker. Now this pressure cooker is a Presto 8-quart stainless steel pressure cooker. Almost got my book in the water. And it came with a little steamer pan there. So I have to tell you, I really, really like it. Now I have a pressure cooker canner, and which I use for canning, of course, but I always use the big pressure cooker canner for, especially when I did broth. I would cook pieces of chicken, like legs or thighs, etc., bone, the skin, everything, and I cooked it in that pressure cooker canner, which is fine, but it's big, and I would have to haul it up from downstairs, and it wasn't the most convenient thing to use for that. But I did it anyway, and the reason that I regularly make chicken and the bone broth from the chicken is because of my dog primarily. She has stomach issues, and I've got kitty cats, and to be honest, I cannot stand the smell of soft canned cat food. I seriously cannot. Well, I just can't take it. So I always give that to them in lieu of their soft food, the canned soft food, because cats should have soft food as well as their kibbles. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and buy this, and I have to say I love it, and I use it all the time. Now, it's not an Instant Pot. It's just a regular old-fashioned pressure cooker for the stovetop. So there's no bells, there's no whistles. It's very plain. But you know what? I'm not a bells and whistles kind of gal. I like things simple. I like for my kitchen tools to be simple. And this fits the bill for me. I'll try to put a link to it in the description box below. But I don't have an Amazon, I don't know, what do they call it, Amazon account or Amazon, where I'm, an affiliate account. I don't have anything like that set up. So I don't make anything off of it if you order, but that's fine. If I can help you out, I sure will, because I do really like this one. Now, like I said, it is an 8-quart. So look here, if you can see here, I added I soak the pinto beans for a few hours. Sometimes I soak beans, sometimes I don't. I'm not consistent about it. But I've never cooked the beans in the pressure cooker before. And according to the instructions, which it comes with in this book, it says that I can cook them in like 6 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes. So I thought, well, hey, let's give it a try. And I love beans. I think beans are awesome. And so I do eat a lot of beans. And beans are huge, really good meat replacement. There's a lot of protein there. And so I do that. All right, so these are the beans that I put in the pan. And like I said, I soaked them for a couple of hours. Actually, I had to go to the dentist this morning, and I came back and they were soaked plenty. This bag of beans was from the Dollar Tree for $1. And surprise, surprise. And it was a pound of pinto beans. So, and I checked on the back, and if you cook pinto beans just on the stove in the regular manner, not through it with a pressure cooker, you're looking at 2 to 3.5 hours of cooking time, not including the soaking time. So, these are just plain beans, and I want you to notice, I hope you can see here, there's lines here inside the pan. They're demarcation lines, and you should not have your liquid go over those lines. So I put the beans in, added the liquid just to bring it up to the first mark, but I can't go any further than here. So I feel comfortable with this. Although I have a feeling there may not be that much liquid left when I get done, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, because you know these are going to swell up even more. Okay. So, I want to season my beans. So, aren't you excited you're in on this? Excuse me. I got my coffee here. I didn't get much coffee this morning because I had to go to the dentist. You know, because of all of the stuff going on this past year. A lot of dental offices were closed, and I'm on the Iowa-Illinois state line, and my dentist is in Illinois. So there was an issue there, but I did finally get in. So happy, so excited for that, because I love my dentist. They're awesome. Okay, and I love my hygienist. I've had them for over 20 years. Very happy. All right. This is what I've got here. I've got a partial jar of homemade taco seasoning. I think I did a video on that. I'll look, and if I think I did, so I'll put a link to that below as well. So I want to season up my beans, so I'm going to put, I don't have much left, but I'm going to put, let's do 3 tablespoons, so that's going to take care of the rest of that jar. I'm just guessing. And I have a partial bag of dry onion soup mix. And I had used this part of it for another recipe, so I'm going to use the rest of it. There should be some good flavor in there. And I'm going to use the rest of it and put that in there as well. That's terrific. And she said, I'm going to put in, just happen to think of this, I'm going to put in an envelope of this Goya chicken bouillon. And I found this at the Dollar Tree, and I've been buying it. I love this stuff. And one of the reasons why I love it is because it's extremely flavorful, and it actually comes, they are in envelopes. It's powder in an envelope, so you're not messing with a cube. Let me show you what that looks like. It looks like this. And you just tear your little envelopes apart. It comes with 8 envelopes of the powder. Each envelope makes 4 cups of, or excuse me, 2 cups of broth. And yes, 2 cups of broth. And the broth is extremely good. So I'm going to put, now this has got salt in it too, and the onion seasoning mix has salt, so we're just going to dispense with any salt in here. But I might put some pepper, because I'm a pepper kind of girl, and you know, salt makes food taste good, especially beans. Beans can absorb a lot of salt. So let's give this a quick stir. Oh, that was peppery. Woo, land of Goshen, that was peppery. All right. I'm kind of chatty today, so, you know, there are those of you out there who want me to do this speedy, but you should know by now, sometimes I get chatty. If you want speedy, I guess you'll have to find a different channel, huh? Okay, just pretend like you're in the kitchen with your granny. If you're in the kitchen with your granny is chatty. She likes to talk about the events of the day and things that happened. And my grandma, one of my grandmas, always called us hun. Everybody was hun. And how can you go wrong? You feel loud when your grandma calls you hun. All right, it's in there. Now, I'm going to put my lid on. Here's my lid. There it is. And I'm going to, now there's an arrow here. You probably can't see it, but anyway, right here, there's an arrow which matches up with this arrow. So all I have to do is play the match game and match that up, and then turn it. Turn the lid, and you'll hear a click, and it just locks it in place right here. This little metal piece here comes up and just locks it right in place. And then when this pressure builds up, this will pop up. And you'll hear this rattle a little bit as it's trying to force itself up. And you just make sure that this is on. I'm going to turn the heat on high. And I've got my little pressure, I wouldn't call it a gauge necessarily, but it's a pressure regulator. And this is the way this works. This goes on here, and you just turn it until you can't go any further, and it will say pressure/steam, or pressure/steam release. If you want it, when the pressure builds, you want to do a quick release, you can do that, but honestly, I don't do that. I just let it go down on its own, although there are some things you can make that you should release the pressure on. But otherwise, it stays just like that. Now listen, according to the instructions on this cooker, it says that this cooker is designed to maintain a pressure of 15 pounds. Now I suppose it varies depending on your altitude. And you know, if you keep a good attitude, it changes your altitude. Now, I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, that is good advice, though. Okay. So, it depends on your altitude, but about 15 pounds of pressure is what this pot maintains. Now, the way it maintains the pressure is the steam will keep coming out. The steam, the harder the steam is pushing out, it's having to work extra hard to maintain that 15 pounds of pressure. So in order to keep it from doing that, once the steam starts coming out and the pressure builds up, and this little dealy whopper here comes up and stays up, then it's going to build that pressure up. So what happens is the steam will start pouring out of here. What you need to do at that point, you need to lower the heat on your pressure cooker so that the steam is very small, because you don't want to, if it's just pouring out of there, you're going to reduce your liquid in the pan, and you don't want to do that. You don't want your pressure cooker to go dry. That would be a disaster. So that's what we're going to look for. We're just going to wait until the steam just comes pouring out of here. Our little gauge is, or dealy whopper is up, and we'll be good to go. So I'll bring you back when the pressure is built up and let you see what that looks like. And then I will reduce the heat, and it is only at that point I will start my timer. And I will set my timer, it says up to 6 minutes, so I'll set my timer for 6 minutes for the actual cooking process under pressure, and then we'll see what we have. Like I said, you're in on this because I've never done beans in this yet, but I'm going to do it and you get to be there. All right, we'll be back. Alrighty, now it took about 10 minutes because I set the timer to see. It took about 10 minutes for the pressure to build up in the cooker for the steam to start coming out. Now, the steam is not too bad right now. It's actually pretty steady. And I've got my burner on high, but you'll see it's really going to it'll start building up a little bit more. See if I can get you up here so you see better. It'll start building, see it? Starting to come up. Now, that tells me I need to turn my heat down. So I'm going to turn my heat down. It's on high. I'm going to turn it down to right around 3 or so, which is like a medium low. Not quite low, but it's medium low. I'm going to turn it down and just see how it does. If I don't see this reduce a little bit, then I'm going to want to turn it down a little bit more. But I think, let me see. See, that's quite a bit, isn't it? Can you see it? Can you see? Awesome. Okay, I'm going to turn it down a bit, just a little bit more. And maybe you heard that, kind of hear it sort of reduce a little bit. So now I know it's under pressure. It's at 15 pounds of pressure. And I'm going to set my timer for 6 minutes. But I really kind of want to see if this is going to be steady. We want our steam to be steady. And this is important. I don't want to see spattering. If it's spattering or sputtering, I don't want that. I want it to be steady pressure, so I want it to be steady steam. Okay? So I'm just going to let that go for just a few minutes, and we'll see what it does. Some people are kind of afraid of pressure cookers. Don't be afraid of it. It's okay. It's like any other tool. You just read your instructions, get used to it, and you will get a world of good out of it. Now, see how that's reduced? Can you hear it? Because I turned it down just a smidge more. Okay, now I'm going to set my timer for 6 minutes, and when the 6 minutes are done, I'll check back in with you. All right. My timer went off. I set it for 6 minutes. I was tempted to set it for 7, but I'm trying to be good. So the timer went off, but as you can see, the cooker is still under pressure. So I'm not going to mess with it. I could use the little lever here and release the pressure, but that's messy. I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to let the pressure go down all on its own. And I'll set a timer. Let's see how long that takes, because it took 10 minutes to come up to pressure, 6 minutes to cook the beans. And I will set the timer, and let's see. I'll set it, just for the fun of it, I'll set it for 15 minutes. And let's see how long it takes for the pressure to go down. And at that point, when the pressure's down, then I can take the lid off. So, I am going to slide this off of the hot burner in order to give it an opportunity to cool down and for the pressure to go down. So otherwise, it's going to take longer for that to happen because the burner is so hot. And you know, on electric stoves, the burner stays hot much longer than if you have a gas stove. So, okay, going to do that. And then when the pressure is down, we're going to open it up. We're going to reveal what we have and see if 6 minutes is actually long enough to cook this pound of beans. Okay? All right. Be back. I'm excited. Aren't you excited? You are? Oh, good. That's awesome. Okay, be back. Look at there. I went to answer the phone and it went down. So see there? It's down. And that means that now I can release the pressure gauge with no issues. Awesome. Now let's get back over here. And I'm going to take off the lid. One thing too, when you remove the lid, turn it away from you so that you don't get steam on you because you don't want to burn yourself. Anytime you're in the kitchen, you want to exercise caution. So just be careful. And one thing too that I've noticed, whenever I use a pressure cooker, it cooks faster. You can you can cook without heating up your kitchen because you just have a little bit of steam. So you're not heating up your kitchen like you would if you had something on the back of the stove with an open kettle or just with a kettle with a lid on it. It really does cut down on the heat that builds up in your kitchen, which is especially helpful in the hot weather months. So I'm going to undo this. There you go. Take off the... Now I'm really anxious to see, is this going to be... Are they going to be done sufficiently enough? Okay. So let's see. I think I want to get a bigger spoon so we can see. Come up a little closer here. Come a little bit closer. Alright. Let's see. Now, I didn't really lose any liquid, which that's good. So let's see. That's what they look like. But are they going to be soft enough? Actually, they do feel pretty soft, but let's find out. I'm going to take a few of these beans and I'm going to put them in a little dish here. I'm going to grab a fork real quick. And let's see if they smash. Do they smash? Will they? Well, that's pretty good. They're not squishy soft. They're a tiny bit firm. Let's see. I'm going to taste one. Well, I gotta say, I think they're done just right. They're done just right for me. A little bit of that bean liquor there. They're not very salty, so there's room to play with seasoning. They aren't overly seasoned either, so there's room to play with that. Let's see. I think these are good. They're fine. Now, if you try this, you can season them any way that you want. Any way you like. You can season them as much as you want. You can put anything you want in there. Cook them plain. Cook them with just salt. Cook them with some peppers or onions, whatever you want. You go ahead and do that. I'm going to use these for soup. I'm going to use them for refried beans. So just a little bit of seasoning is okay with me because I can add whatever I want. And I'm going to store these in some freezer bags with some of the liquid. So I want these to cool down before I put them in a freezer bag because we don't want a mess, do we? And I am going to freeze them with some of the bean, I call it liquor, but the bean water that's there. I'm going to freeze it with some of them. Keep in mind too, these will thicken up as they cool off because that's the nature of beans. And I think this is something that I just had to try, and honestly, I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. Now, if I were going to, I won't hesitate if I were going to do beans and ham, bean soup, beans with bacon. But I just wanted to do some basics here so that you and I could take a look. We could see how to do this together. And I'm very, very pleased with it. So, awesome. Listen, thank you so much for being with me today on this little kitchen adventure. And if I can do this, you can do this. I'll try to remember to put a link below to this pressure cooker if you're interested in it, or just go online and look and shop around. And you know, a lot of times they have them at yard sales or Goodwill or Salvation Army or whatever. You can find, and probably not, this costs $69, but you can go find them for much cheaper if you want to. It just depends on what you're looking for, okay? All right, listen, I love ya. If I can do it, you can do it. I know you can. And as always, you just remember that little is much when God is in it. Okay, pretty good for a buck. All right, love ya, and I'll talk to you later.